Welcome, I am Emir, and let's look back in hindsight. There will be no Windows version more exciting than Windows Longhorn/Vista. But that's for one reason, and one reason alone. Microsoft promised much, but failed to deliver. It aimed for the stars, but instead hit rock bottom. At least, that's how Vista is remembered today. It was criticized for reasons beyond Microsoft's making. Maybe hardware manufacturers failed to release, well, hello, Captain Obvious. Hardware that would make the most of what Vista had to offer, instead relying on the mantra that if it's good enough for Windows XP, it's good enough for Vista. Hardware manufacturers had what? 5 years? Taking out the pre-reset period from the equation and starting with build 5048 in April 2005, they had what? 1.5 years. Microsoft was regularly releasing Vista builds to a wider audience since then. Surely, hardware manufacturers knew that Vista would require more advanced hardware than XP, right? And it's no excuse that Vista was, quote, too new, unquote. What? They'd rather prefer the technology not develop at all? This has nothing to do with anything, but when will I ever get the chance to rant about this? Oh, brain farts. Shorts. Right. Also, Microsoft is to blame. Again. Maybe. But subscribe, ring the bell, and comment below if you want me to make Law Meets Balik Tanaw about that legal rabbit hole. Vista was a revolutionary version of Windows. It was very different from XP, both on and under the hood. Aero is still the most elegant user interface, not just in Windows history, but in computer history. User account control may be annoying, but at least it prevents running those pesky autorun malware on USBs that spoof the Windows XP autorun window. The search box on every Explorer window is handy. I don't need to open a new search window. I still miss the dog though. I can save searches for files I usually look for. I can also partially search for files. No need to type the full file name. As Maza on BA found, Vista allows natural language searches like documents about France or email about birthday instead of just plain old file names. Also, Vista allows email search inside the Explorer window. That's not in XP, and that's not in Windows 10 either. Wikipedia has a long article on features new to Windows Vista. I joke about citation needed a lot, but it's the most comprehensive I can find. Plus, some of them have citations. Hehe. I said Microsoft promised much, but failed to deliver in Vista. Some of these, like libraries, would see the light in Windows 7. But libraries, natural language search, partial or incremental search, saved searches, these were just supposed to be features of a much larger system. A system that Microsoft promoted as a pillar of Longhorn, Vista's code name. A system that Microsoft wanted to implement in Windows as early as the early 90s. Yes, the early 1990s. That's how old this vision was. A system that Bill Gates described when asked, quote, what one Microsoft program or product that was never fully developed or released do you wish had made it to the market? A system called WinFS. Cue dramatic music here, because I don't want to get copyright strike. Fair use? What's that? I won't go into the history of WinFS, but if you want me to, subscribe and ring the bell and comment on the YouTube page of this video. When Microsoft released WinFS Beta 1, WinFS Beta 1 in August 2005, it seemed to come out of the blue. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Why was it considered a surprise? Because Microsoft had earlier announced that WinFS, a pillar of Longhorn, would no longer be shipped as part of it. Imagine that! Imagine that! A pillar of Longhorn would no longer ship as part of it. Instead, it would be an add-on, maybe through one of Windows's endless updates. So, everyone thought it was doomed. Again. I mentioned the reset earlier. Longhorn's development was reset, meaning everything was thrown out and work started from scratch because it was a hot mess. Pre-reset Longhorn builds are a performance hog. WinFS is one of the reasons for that. I have played with Longhorn build 4074 for a few years now, and WinFS has been a nightmare to deal with. In fact, tweak guides of pre-reset Longhorn builds often recommended that WinFS be disabled, which missed the point entirely. That's like putting your phone in airplane mode. WinFS was removed from post-reset Longhorn builds, but that didn't mean WinFS was down and out. The WinFS team kept on trucking. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You ain't never gonna kick me down. And by August 2005, in the lead up to PDC 2005, the Professional Developers Conference, they dropped WinFS Beta 1 for Windows XP. So, how exactly does it work? Let's first discuss how WinFS should work. Windows on Windows already has a video on this. But here's my take by sharing to you how I make videos. Emir's Balik Tanaw / In Hindsight is a gag-driven show. I'd use the word memes, but they're not viral. I use and reuse gags, something for my new fans to at least giggle at, and for my subscribers to look forward to. The problem is this. How do I keep track of all the gags I've used? If I have to reuse them, for example, there are two options for me: to use descriptive file names and to sort them by folders. Both have disadvantages. For the first, long file names which I can't easily see in Explorer, I'd have to press rename or rely on search. And for the second, the problem of the basis of categorization of folders. How do I sort my gags? I currently do it per episode. This leads to duplicate files. For example, gags that I have reused. This increases disk space. The result is this. Neither option allows me to make any links or relationships to them without having to use an external program. Okay, Explorer allows me to put tags in JPEG files, but not in PNG files for some reason. The problem? I use PNG files. Why would I still use compressed JPEGs? What's worse are gags that I don't have any pictures, or not necessarily gags at all, but things which I mentioned in an old video. But I cannot remember the exact video where I said it. An example would be the definition of derivative works. Did I quote it in my fair use video on Filipino Batman movies, or on Oh Pretty Woman? Or was it even on my importance of fair use video? I don't know. I have to make a list of episodes where I most likely said them, and then open the script of each one and check. Windows search does not search the contents of these folders. I have to open Office or a PDF reader. At least I can find these gags. What about those things which I don't remember the video in which I said them? Do I open every script? I've had 60 videos now. 60 scripts each. Even the brain farts ones have scripts. Nah, son. WinFS is supposed to get rid of all these issues. No more need for multiple folders. I can just put everything in one store. And by everything, I mean everything. Structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. Not just files, documents, photos, videos, but also emails, contacts, and private messages. I can put everything in one store, hence the name Integrated Store. I can tag items and set relationships among them, so I can easily find them when I need to. A perfect example would be my videos on the Samantha mod. That involved not just pictures, but also emails. Ideally, if WinFS made it, then it would allow me to see everything, and I mean everything related to my videos on the Samantha mod. Not just the screenshots, but also the emails. Now, did WinFS Beta 1 for Windows XP actually address those issues? Did it allow me to do the things I mentioned? Nope, because it was primarily for developers, meaning people who make applications or apps, not for end users. People who use apps, like me. And that's the problem of marketing right there. Unlike the other pillars of Longhorn, the practical reasons for and benefits of WinFS can easily be understood by end users. That alone should have been a reason for Microsoft to target end users and not just developers in WinFS Beta 1. I'm not asking for apps like those in the I Wish video, or for search and for the libraries like in Longhorn pre-reset builds. Something like LiveJournal would have been enough. But nope. WinFS Beta 1 just provided a link to WinFS stores, where I can save items like files, documents, pictures, videos, and so on. That's it. At least to the end user. Please subscribe and ring the bell to be instantly notified of Balik Tanaw / in Hindsight episodes. Please like and share this video and all my videos across social media. Do check out all of my other videos and comment. Please support the show on paypal.me/Balik Tanaw, where you can give out any amount you want, or on Patreon, patreon.com/Balik Tanaw. Patrons on Patreon get early access to videos, get to see their names at the end of each video, and get to request reviews of a movie, an album, a song, a television show, or even on one-hit wonders? Or, at the very least, they get exclusive access to posts, which no one else can. Lastly, thank you to my sibling, G-G Arts, for the microphone I'm using for this video. She also designed my avatar. Check out her work on the links in the description. Thank you, and now, back to the video. WinFS Beta 1 is not so much a failure of development as it is a failure of marketing. Beta 1 is relatively stable. It does not drag the system down, unlike WinFS in pre-reset Longhorn builds. However, it has nothing to excite end users about. Why? 1. Microsoft buried the applications demonstrating WinFS on the unsupported folder. These apps showed what WinFS could do. Because they were hidden, meaning not installed with WinFS, no one could easily find them. Paul Thurrott, in his WinFS preview, failed to notice them. 2. The apps are buggy as toot. StoreSpy does not sync to Outlook 2003. This was something the WinFS team said they would fix, but never did. Since natural language queries or searches like, show me emails from all the people who 1. I went to school with, 2. Who regularly talk to me, and 3. Who watch Balik Tanaw / in Hindsight videos work only on emails and contacts and not on other items, this global address list bug makes StoreSpy useless. And since StoreSpy is the only way to import data from Outlook, all the other apps that need these data to show their fullest potential are useless. Microsoft Rave, another app that claimed to synchronize items in WinFS among computers and users, just like what the cloud does today, OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive. Microsoft Rave went on and on and on, linking to folders, without even showing if they were indeed linked. OPather did not show any meaningful natural language searches. 3. Microsoft did not include more easily understandable applications to show the power of WinFS, like again, LiveJournal. This app took all the data and sorted them into years and bands, which represented categories. It showed relationships, example, pictures and notes about a kitchen redo, and it allowed dragging of items to build relationships, related items. No need for folders anymore. But Microsoft, for some reason, did not include LiveJournal in WinFS Beta 1. So, software that is lost media. I never thought I'd be saying that. I always just thought that I'd be reviewing lost TV shows or lost movies or lost songs. But here we are. 4. Microsoft did not provide a way to insert or edit metadata into the items, not even in the Properties window, which is more bare bones than the Windows XP Properties window. Nor did it provide any way to make relationships between items. 5. The focus of WinFS Beta 1 was only on developers. But developers did not want to do anything with it. Those who were interested in WinFS Beta 1 when it came out were not developers. Interested? One of those gags which I never made a picture of, as I mentioned earlier. Speaking of developers, WinFS was released in the lead-up to PDC 2005. Don't let the name fool you. Professional Developers Conference was not just for developers. It was a way for Microsoft to hype up its future products to the press. Hence, Paul Thurrott. The PDC was Microsoft's version of Apple's PR efforts. Think Steve Jobs or Tim Cook, in case you don't remember who Steve Jobs was. I wonder how many attended the WinFS sessions. I don't think a lot of important people, the press, did. Certainly not throughout. Error 404. WinFS not found. I said earlier that WinFS was not so much a failure of development as it was a failure of marketing. This is not to say that WinFS Beta 1 is free from bugs. There are. But maybe Microsoft intentionally pursued this marketing strategy because it knew WinFS had a long way to go, that it was not yet ready for prime time. Or maybe Microsoft just wanted to silently pull down the curtain on WinFS. Whatever the case, WinFS Beta 1 was the last time WinFS was seen outside Microsoft. Some of its features, as I mentioned earlier, found their way to Vista and 7. But not everything. I still have to use folders and deal with the problems I mentioned earlier. I still have no way to link or make relationships between files. I still can't add any tags on pings. And there is still no integrated storage. I cannot store in just one store. Again, hello, Captain Obvious. I cannot just store in one store all my files and my emails and my contacts and etc. True, the cloud does much of the work that WinFS wanted to achieve. Real-time collaboration without having to deal with duplicate and multiple copies, likely conflicting copies of files, allowing for simultaneous editing, and natural language queries. Think social media and dating site searches. There's also this, but I prefer if I could have that without Clippy, Cortana. But the cloud is far from perfect. Just as these tweets show. What? I can't say tweets. I don't have social media. Not anymore. These were public as of the time I made this video. No need to cover their faces. No data privacy involved. Just a reminder. Also, I can only search one level on my emails. Again, for example, show me emails from all the people who, 1, I went to school with. I can't narrow that down. I can't filter those who, 2, who regularly talk to me, and 3, who watch Balik Tanaw / in Hindsight videos. One more thing. I can't use my Windows contacts directly on my Gmail app on my Android phone. Nor can I link documents I edited on iOS to my contacts on Windows who originally sent those documents to me. Android, Windows, iOS, they still use their own stores. No integrated store. I have to import from each of them first. But that leads to the problem of duplication and conflicting copies. If I want to avoid these, then I have to stick to apps from one provider. That effectively leads to a monopoly. Stick to one. Microsoft, or Google, or Apple. WinFS aimed to do away with that. Now that you mention it, or now that I mention it, I wonder if monopoly is the reason Microsoft has continued not to deliver WinFS. Subscribe and ring the bell and comment below if you want a Law Meets Balik Tanaw video on Microsoft's history of being monopolistic. Also, there's still no way to do offline the things the cloud allows online. Not everything has to be done through the cloud. What if the internet is down? What if the internet is not available? What if I'm concerned about my data privacy? We all should be. What if I just don't want to go online? Why would I need to be online to work on Balik Tanaw / in Hindsight? This is just a one-person job. No need to collaborate to work with anyone else. So, going offline is and must still be an option. But there's nothing like the cloud to sync my files. And there's nothing to link my files. I still have to keep my gags on separate folders with long descriptive file names. And there's no way to reconcile offline backups. For example, I saved a copy of the script of this video on my memory card. What if I made changes to the initial copy, the one saved at my computer? What if I made changes to both copies? Can I merge them both, or do I have to choose? I can keep both and then reconcile them myself, but that means having to open Office to compare them automatically or to compare them manually. Hassle. And again, that's also a problem with the cloud. Clearly, there is still room in our cloud-based reality for WinFS, which aimed for the stars but seemed to hit rock bottom. Will it be back? Bill Gates said yes, but I doubt it. Yet, Microsoft has surprised the world before, and maybe, just maybe, it can do so again. Because, integrated storage is better than inventing a chatbot that allows me to talk to Dr. Drake Ramore.